Welcome back to another YouTube video from the Medic on the Move YouTube channel. If you have not been here before and this is your first time, well, welcome. My name is Craig, and I would love it if you would like and subscribe to the channel, because we are going to be trying to bring as much interesting and fun videos and entertainment as we possibly can. This particular video is about life as a fireline paramedic. What is a fireline medic, you might well ask? Well, in many countries around the world, like the USA and Canada and South America and Australia and many others, bushfires or wildland fires are a consequence that we have to accept when we have such magnificent bushland and forests and parks that we live around. The hot weather comes along, fuels are dry, the weather's hot, the humidity's low, the winds are blowing, and all of a sudden we can end up with massive wildfires that take off. And of course, all of the first responders and firefighters have to go out and do everything that they possibly can to bring the fires under control and put them out. But of course, while they're out there, there is a big risk to them with being injured just through the nature of the work they're doing. So fireline paramedics, EMTs, nurses, and doctors are deployed to these events, and they will provide medical support, emergency medical support to the responders that are there in the event that something goes wrong. And that's what this video is all about. So just a little bit of a background. I'm from Melbourne, Australia, and have had many years involved in both the emergency management, but more specifically in the fire context, as well as being a paramedic. So I did spend a number of years working as an incident controller, or an incident commander, as it is known in some parts of the world. And I was very, very fortunate in 2016 to come to the USA and work on major wildland fires across California. And that was in 2016, I think about August, September in 2016. There I am at the Sobranes fire, which was in California. And there are two of my great friends. On my right is Rocky Opliker, who was the incident commander for that particular fire. A brilliant, brilliant man, brilliant leader, brilliant incident commander. And on my left is a gentleman called Scott Vale, who I have known for many, many years. Another highly respected incident commander here in the USA. He was Rocky's deputy, and then I came in as like the second deputy for that particular fire and that amount of time that I was over here in the USA. And I would have to say that it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, without doubt, working with those two great people, but all of the other people that I encountered as well. While I was on that particular deployment, I actually went down to the Carmel Valley Fire Department and rode a shift. I wasn't working at this particular time. This was when I was having a bit of a break from EMS back in Australia, but the opportunity was there to go and do a shift. I also got to ride around in a helicopter, and who doesn't love food? When you're living in the base camps at these fires, you get fed very, very well. And so it was just all there and wanting to be eaten. And so I was doing my fair share in helping out with all of that. So that was the USA experience. I did it in 2016 and I came back again in 2017 and had a great time as well. But let's go back to Australia because this is the story that I want to talk to you about. In December of 2024, major wildland fires, or bushfires as we call them in Australia, broke out in the west of the state, and that was down at Hall's Gap, or in the Grampians National Parks. And excuse me, they've had many big fires there in the past, and on this occasion, the fires started around, I think it was about the 14th of December, and took off and continued burning for a number of months. At that particular time, I was just finishing off the very, very last bits of my Bachelor of Paramedicine at uni, getting ready to move across to the USA. And it was New Year's Eve on 2024 that I saw an old friend of mine, who you're going to meet very shortly on this video. I saw him do a post on New Year's Eve because he was working as a fireline medic on these fires, and he did a post wishing everybody a Happy New Year. And all of a sudden the penny dropped and I thought, oh, I've always wanted to work as a fireline medic. And then I figured out that he was working for a company called LifeAid Emergency Care, and that I knew Alan Close, who's up there in the top corner, and his wife Anne, who are the owners of LifeAid, and they were providing the paramedics that were working on the bushfires. So on New Year's Eve, I sent an email off, got an email back from Kirsty, who is Alan and Anne's daughter, the very next day, and literally a few days later, on the 3rd of January 2025, I was off to the fires. There I am, looking a gazillion dollars, of course. I'd just been and picked up my uniforms and a bag with all of my gear in it, and literally it was 3 days and I was deployed and heading off to those fires in the western part of Victoria. One of the great joys of that period of time for me in working at LifeAid was this man, Philip Turnbull. So Phil works for LifeAid, but he is a CFA, or a Country Fire Authority volunteer in Victoria. And Phil and I used to volunteer as firefighters at the same station. But I hadn't seen him probably for 10 years or more until I joined LifeAid. And so this was actually up in Ararat. I'd driven up there and Phil was already up there. And so we renewed acquaintances and then basically almost spent every day together for the rest of January, February, March, April, until he headed off to have a holiday and I came over here. So that's the, up in the top corner there, that's the base camp at Ararat, and that was the catering area that all the firefighters, where they were being accommodated and being fed in there. But then it was out on the road. There's another great mate who I'd known for a long time, Brendan, and it was great to catch up with him. And it was during this time that I actually spent a total of 3 months. It was basically 90 days I spent at all different fires across Victoria, and had a wonderful time and a great experience. This is actually in Hall's Gap, which is in the Grampians. And as you can see up the top there, the kids at the local primary school had put a banner together thanking all of the firefighters that had been there working hard to contain the fires. And I got to meet some great firefighters and support them in whatever ways we could around providing emergency medical services, but also preventative healthcare around hydration and making sure that they had their ankles strapped and blister management and all of that sort of thing. And then the bottom corner there where I'm on the Rayco, well, one in all in, I say. And so when there's work to be done, then into it you go. And some people may think that picture is staged just for the presentation, but of course there would be no truth whatsoever in that claim. As I said before about catching up with old friends, the incident controller for that fire was Les Veering, who I worked with back at the Department of Sustainability and Environment, and it was good to catch up with Les again. He had no idea that I had re-entered into EMS and ambulance, and he had come out to do a briefing of all the firefighters and sort of give them a inspirational talk, and he sort of kept looking over the back where I was standing, and I could tell he sort of recognised my face, but was wondering what the heck I was doing there in a green wildfire, PPC and paramedic uniform. And so we caught up and had a great chat. And great man and highly experienced and still going strong. And his leadership was absolutely outstanding. There I am down in the bottom corner there, heading down to check on a firefighter that had injured themselves. And that's the whole role of fireline medics, is that you have the firefighting qualifications, which enable you to be out on the line, out, on the fire edge where the firefighters are working. But then you've also got the paramedic qualification where you're able to provide the support to these people when they need it. And of course, in those sorts of environments, it's common that they need the help, and that's what we are there for. And so I was heading down to see what the problem was and how I could help him out.